The Securities and Exchange Commission issuing a strong warning this week to those looking to invest in marijuana stocks. In a statement, the department wrote, quote, "If you're thinking about investing in a marijuana-related company, you should be aware of the risks of investment fraud and manipulation."
The warning comes after the SEC charged cannabis fund Greenview Investment Partners earlier this week with misappropriating more than $3 million in investor money. Joining us now to discuss more on this is Sean Stiefel. He's the founder and portfolio manager of cannabis-centric Navy Capital Green Fund. That's a long name.
Thank you for having us.
It's a
we
hedge
had to have green, wanted to be a little discreet.
It is a hedge fund, we should point out. So you can short stocks. You know, I wonder,
we do short stocks.
I can imagine you've done very well owning them, but does there come a point at which you want to start selling them or selling short?
And I think that time is now in a lot of instances. Valuations have kind of gone through the roof in the last few weeks, partially due to the real fundamental changes was the Constellation deal into Canopy Growth, but that got retail really excited about what's happening in the space, and you've seen a lot of these U.S. listed securities really come with tremendous retail volume now and go to valuations that just make no sense.
Which would also, it would seem at least, open the possibility of making promises you can't keep in terms of companies. I think in particular one here, which was promising sort of a guaranteed return.
Yeah, in general, whenever you're guaranteeing a return, you're asking for trouble, whether it's cannabis or paper airplanes. It's sort of the same instance here, and you should never make statements like that.
There's been some evidence. I mean, you mentioned retail interest goes kind of through the roof, and you can see the flow of stock promotion, I guess, happening, and people saying even it's taken some of the energy out of the crypto space where there have been a lot of promotion. How do you actually sift among the real companies and the frauds?
Sure. The thing about cannabis is that it's tangible. You're actually selling a physical good, and it's something that you should be able to model out with decent parameters. And so for us, we're very conscious of valuations. We're very conscious of what companies are saying, because the reality is if you're modeling out 100% growth or 98% growth, it's a very hard number to really get your head around. So we try to find companies that are trading within pretty tight parameters. 10 times forward EBITDA is sort of what we're looking for. In the US, because of the regulatory situation, you're able to get really attractive valuations on the private side versus some of the public cannabis companies trading at 40 times 2020 sales.
Are we at any point near saturation in terms of the actual production capacity of this industry?
It's no longer about production capacity. It's about marijuana as an input. When you talk about THC and CBD, you're talking about it on a per milligram basis. And so if I can tell you I'm selling you a 10 milligram edible, well, it doesn't necessarily matter what the price of flower is. It's just an input. A milligram of THC, just for perspective, is about a penny. And so that 10 milligram input is 10 cents, and I'm selling it to you for $4 or $5. That's a nice margin.
Sean, can you talk about the profitability of the industry? Is this a case of just Constellation being desperate and needs to get in, doesn't even matter about the price? Or is there actually a profitability slope or curve in this industry that I just am not aware of?
Yeah, it's an extremely profitable product. I mean, these are high margin CBD products. Before we even talk about the medicinal side, there's also very much an effect on alcohol. Empirical data says where cannabis is legal and accessible, alcohol sales drop 15%. And so this is a threat directly to alcohol.
Do you buy Constellation on this deal as well? Does your fund able to do that, I would assume?
We can.
We're looking into it. I mean, it's not just Constellation, right? Diageo.
Everyone's looking into it. However, if you really think about what's happening right now, there's not a lot of brand equity. So you're simply paying for R&D and for data. And so the thought of a company doing another Constellation-like deal right now doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That's a lot of money without any brand equity when they can do a lot of that R&D in-house.
What's your top holding?
We really like CannTrust.
Why?
It's cheap, it's very easy to model. You can see where they're selling their product. Very solid management team, huge international presence, and they have a great product. They've dominated the medicinal market in Canada, and we're excited for what they're going to do globally.